I thought we had a really good fall camp. I thought the quarterbacks did a great job. All four of them did a great job. We started going a certain direction the first week and a half, and it kind of took a little turn. I thought Miles did a great job over the last probably 6-7 practices. I think his experience and his demeanor really helped him. The guys seem to follow him, and so Miles Kendrick is our starting quarterback. He's done a really good job, and if you would have told me that in May, I'd have told you were crazy, because when coming off of that injury, the work that he did on the break that we had in May, you have to give him a ton of credit, because he didn't look very good running around, and I thought it might change some of the dynamic of what we can do on offense, but over the last week and a half, there's nothing that he can't do with what we want to do. So he's done a great job. He spins the ball really well. The other two are both doing some good things behind him, and we'll learn from him. And so we're gonna run with Miles.
Can you just talk about how important it is to have that guy who sticks his head in the huddle and all the guys believe, because that's it?
I think one, that's the most important voice out there. I mean, the coaches obviously don't get to be on the field, and he seemed to have that swag and that demeanor. I mean, the guys seem to react to him the best. And I think that's a big deal. I think it's really important. He's been there. He's done it. He's had those live bullets at a big level in the Big 12 and at Kansas. And so you can't replace experience. And I thought it kind of showed his head the last probably week and a half of camp.
Coach G, they don't get enough love and credit. Who are some of the trainers and strength guys that helped Miles come back from that injury?
Well, obviously Steve Plord spends a ton of time with him, and Aaron and Mike did a great job. I mean, he was living in there since he's been here. If you watched him during spring ball, he kind of limped around, even through the early spring workouts after spring ball, early summer. And then June and July, he did some really good things, but once we got into camp, it's almost like that limp kind of slowly dissipated, and I don't even see it anymore. Worried about him getting tired on it wasn't an issue, so you got to give Steve and all of his team credit, and Miles the credit for showing up.
Coach, what is he going to bring to you guys?
He brings a great attitude. I mean, it's his team now, and so he'll take advantage of that. I'll stop for a second so you can start over.
Great play too.
It's his team now. I mean, he has the leadership skills, and I think CJ and Justin and Isaiah have all learned from some of the things he's done over the last 2 weeks when he felt more comfortable to assert himself. And I think he finally just decided, you know what, if I'm gonna win this job, the intangibles that I have, I'm gonna use to my advantage, and I think he's done a great job of that. And that'll give us a chance and I plan on being in a bunch of close games, when you've got a guy who's gone through that and he's not afraid, the other guys respond to him. And so I think that he's kind of separated himself that way.
How are you guys out with the rest of the depth chart? Are you going to take your time figuring out who's 2 and 3?
We are. I mean, it's between Justin and CJ right now. We'll probably be listed as an or deal. They both did some really good things through camp. CJ's finger's fine, his thumb is fine. He hit it on a helmet on Saturday, not an issue at all. Justin being here for the short time, I mean, they both have some great attributes, and I mean, there's going to be different packages. I don't believe in rotating quarterbacks, but there will be times that we have different packages that one of those guys or a few of those guys might get in for a play or two and cause some matchup and give some, I mean, I hate to use the term wildcat, but give them some different formations and stuff that other teams have to practice and prepare for, or else you'll give up a big play.
Coach, could you talk about how important it is to have somebody like that who can run and throw to get done what you need to get done?
That was the big concern starting camp with Miles would he be able to do some of the things we want to do with the triple option stuff and getting the ball to the perimeter and getting it pitched and all those things. And I mean, the last week and a half of practice, that has not been has been an issue at all.
How do you respond when you told him?
Grateful, excited. I mean, he's been through a ton in his career. The injury, fighting through that deal has been a big time challenge for him. I think it's helped him grow up through some of those things. He's got a great family support system and the opportunity. I mean, it was the first week of camp, didn't look like he was heading that way, and adversity hit. And that's kind of who he is. He responded, and I'm proud of him for that. And he won the job.
Coach, you got a big transfer quarterback last year. You weren't able to keep him clean. You got hurt. Is your team better prepared to protect the quarterback?
I think we're up front. I think the 5 guys up front give us a lot better chance, 1, to keep him healthy and keep whoever's back there healthy, and 2, to be competitive. I mean, I don't think we were able to stay in many games. You're not going to win any games if you can't score points. If you average 12 points a game, you're not going to win very many. We didn't. And so I think that gives them and those guys have done a great job. I mean, the quarterback ain't worth a darn if the old line don't block. So those guys have done a great job of meshing during fall camp, and now we have 2 weeks to get prepared for Maine.
How'd you guys reveal the news? Was it Miles privately and then the team, or everybody all at once?
We met with all 3 quarterbacks. We met with all 4 of them in the position meeting, and then we pulled the other guys aside and talked to them separately. I think our team knew on Saturday kind of what direction we were heading, and those guys, players know. I mean, they have their opinions too. The great thing is there's no rift. I mean, I've been on teams where you've got 2 great quarterbacks and one of them want one and some of them want another. I mean, that wasn't an issue here, and our guys are resilient. They're just, whoever's in front of that huddle, they're going to listen to and play. I think they respond better to some than others, so it's good.
You talked about the recruiting process a little bit. I mean, sounded like he wanted UNM, whether it was contact list.
Those guys, I mean, grad transfers often want a place where they feel they can compete and have a chance to play, especially when it's going to be your last hurrah. I mean, he doesn't have any more time after this. And so I think he, looked at what had happened here last year, the opportunity, and then not knowing how well he was going to come back from his leg injury, just wanting a chance to compete. And I think that room is significantly better. It's got more depth than we have had before. So I think we've got 2 guys learning under him that the time that they have under Miles will be invaluable as we move forward in this program.
Was it crucial to name him now instead of, wouldn't you have hated to go to a game week and have to name somebody then?
I do. I mean, there's things we could have named him here and not said anything publicly, but I'm not worried about that. I mean, I think when your team knows who the quarterback is, it helps. I mean, I watched I don't know if you guys have watched Man in the Arena, and the first episode with Tom Brady and when he's taking over for Drew Bledsoe. And I mean, there's a lot of great deals in there, but Drew Bledsoe comes in the AFC Championship game against Pittsburgh and plays phenomenal and leads them to the Super Bowl. And Coach Belichick still stuck with Tom Brady, and nobody in the locker room knew. But you know what? They knew they had 2 great players, and they were going to get behind whoever it was. And so, I mean, some of those things, if there's a locker room rift between the 2, it can cause an issue. But I think it's good to announce a starter. Our team knows its identity. Our offense knows its identity, who's leading it, and we're going to move straight ahead.
Maybe even midweek last week, it didn't look like it was going to go this way, or it was teetering. What kind of put Miles over the top? I know you talked about it a little bit.
I think his maturity, the leadership skills that he has, all those things were, I mean, they stood out. Now, the last couple of weeks, he threw it really well too. The last couple of practices, he threw it really well. Put the ball in some hands. I mean, there was a couple really great plays. There were a couple of plays that defenders made that our guys need to come down with, but the ball is in the area it needs to be to give us a chance. And then he throws the deep ball really well, and we're going to take 8 to 10 deep shots in a game. So, I mean, I think over the last couple of practices, it really kind of showed itself.
Kind of shows who he is, man. The crunch time came, and he was like, here, I could do this.
He did. Exactly. I mean, we do a lot of 2-minute around here. We do a lot of situational football, 3rd downs, overtime. His demeanor during those periods really stood out.